When Formula One arrived in Monza for the Italian Grand Prix, the narrative surrounding Red Bull was one of doubt, unease, and skepticism. After a string of races where the once dominant team seemed vulnerable, whispers began spreading throughout the paddock. Had Red Bull finally lost its edge? Teams like McLaren, Mercedes, and even Ferrari in certain moments had managed to expose weaknesses in the RB21, particularly in balance and adaptability across different circuits. Yet, as the engines roared across the Temple of Speed, Max Verstappen delivered a performance that silenced those doubts, rekindling the aura of superiority Red Bull had carried for the past few seasons. In Italy, Verstappen did not just drive well, he sent a message. The king was back, and so was Red Bull. From the very first practice sessions, the RB21 looked alive in ways it hadn't for weeks. The car's stability under braking, its ability to carry immense speed through high-speed corners, and the raw pace on the straights began to resemble the unbeatable machine that had defined the early part of the season. Verstappen, as always, extracted the maximum from what was underneath him. But this time, unlike recent weekends, it was clear that the car itself had found a new lease on life. The upgrades that Red Bull had been quietly refining seemed to click in Monza, and the reigning champion took full advantage of it. Qualifying told part of the story. Verstappen was sharp, precise, and utterly relentless. Every lap looked like a masterclass in control, and while rivals hoped to close in during slipstream battles, Max carved his laps with the confidence of someone who knew the machinery beneath him could finally respond to his every demand. It wasn't just about raw speed, it was about consistency. Sector after sector, Verstappen stitched together performances that reminded the paddock why he has become the benchmark driver of this era. While other drivers wrestled with setups, Verstappen had a car that looked once again planted, smooth, and devastatingly fast. The race itself was a culmination of everything Red Bull fans had been yearning to see. From lights out, Verstappen imposed himself. There was no hesitation, no signs of uncertainty, no cracks in execution. The RB21's superior efficiency on the straights and its remarkable tire management allowed Max to dictate the pace rather than react to the strategies of others. For much of the season, Red Bull had been forced onto the back foot, trying to cover the moves of McLaren or Mercedes. But in Italy, it was Max who set the tempo, forcing everyone else to respond. This reversal of roles highlighted just how significant the step forward had been. Observers in the paddock pointed out how much of Red Bull's improvement came from its ability to manage tire degradation in high-speed conditions. In earlier races, the car had shown a worrying tendency to chew through its rubber, leaving Verstappen vulnerable in the latter stages of stints. In Monza, however, those issues seemed to vanish. Verstappen's lap times stayed remarkably consistent, even deep into the race. It was the kind of performance that evoked memories of 2022 and 2023, when Verstappen could run relentless pace without ever appearing to strain the car. The message was unmistakable. The balance issues had been solved, at least for now. But perhaps the most important aspect of the weekend was psychological. Formula One is not just about engineering or raw talent. It is about aura, intimidation, and the weight of inevitability. For weeks, rivals had sensed vulnerability in Red Bull, daring to attack, believing the giant could be beaten. In Monza, Verstappen dismantled that narrative. His composure, combined with the car's resurgence, re-established the sense of inevitability that has haunted competitors in the past. Every overtake attempt against him looked desperate, every alternative strategy seemed futile. Rivals were once again reminded that beating Verstappen and Red Bull would require perfection, not just opportunity. This resurgence also raises broader questions for the championship. McLaren, Ferrari, and Mercedes had been inching closer, daring to dream of dethroning Red Bull. In fact, many pundits were already framing the season as a turning point, a shift toward a more balanced field. Yet the Italian Grand Prix has thrown all of that into doubt. If Red Bull has truly unlocked its performance again, then the remainder of the season may tilt heavily back in their favor. Verstappen's victory was not just a win, it was a statement of intent, a warning that the fight for dominance is far from over. The dynamic between Verstappen and his engineers also deserves attention. Much had been made in recent weeks about the struggles within the Red Bull camp, from internal tensions to questions over their technical direction. But in Monza, the synergy seemed restored. Verstappen's radio messages were calm, concise, and confident. The pit wall executed flawlessly, delivering strategy calls that enhanced rather than hindered his race. This cohesion is vital, because at this level of competition, even the smallest misstep can turn a victory into defeat. Red Bull appeared united again, moving in one direction, with Verstappen as the spearhead. What does this mean for Verstappen personally? For a driver already carving out a legacy as one of the greatest of his generation, weekends like Monza are the chapters that define legends. It is one thing to dominate when your car is untouchable. It is another to rise from a period of doubt and deliver a crushing performance. Verstappen thrives on pressure, on proving people wrong, and this race was the perfect canvas for that mindset. His body language after the race said it all. There was relief, yes, but more than that, there was fire. The look of a man who knew he had silenced the critics and reclaimed control of his destiny. For Red Bull, the implications go beyond this season. With new regulations looming in 2026 and rivals pushing harder than ever, the team cannot afford extended slumps. The Italian Grand Prix was a reminder that even when they falter, they remain capable of striking back with devastating force. Adrian Newey's fingerprints may still be all over this machine, and with Verstappen at the wheel, Red Bull remains a force to be feared. The balance of power in Formula One is always shifting, but some things remain constant. Champions find ways to win, and dynasties are not toppled easily. The Monza weekend, then, was more than just a victory. It was a turning point in narrative, perhaps even in destiny. For weeks, the paddock had been ready to write Red Bull's obituary, eager to crown a new leader of the sport. Instead, Verstappen and his team tore that script apart, reminding everyone why they have ruled Formula One in recent years. In the land of speed, Red Bull found its wings again, and Max Verstappen reminded the world that the throne is still his to lose.